Mr. AKA active speaker. But talk to Parker. Hey, talk to Parker. Olivia, Paige, Gavin, Warren, Abby, the Honorable Douglas Gabe, Rich Purnell,
You're right at 7.
I'll just say it here for now. Absolutely. Emily, Danny, Riley, Elizabeth, and things up. Yep.
Come on, Jordan, do I give you?
I forget what I have.
No, I know. What?
Orange?
Yes.
Good?
Birthday. No, you're fine.
When it gets better, like that was enough to for small children. That's fire garage. It's like this is creepy. South Carolina.
Great loss. Yeah. Would you like to be recorded, Parker?
Yeah, she's good. It's set up already though.
Just get show.
Okay, wait a second. What's up?
Hang on.
Logan, I'm putting up volume over here. Logan. Put up volume.
No, I don't know.
They probably would put it up.
What's up?
No, yeah, I don't
It's like
just
for
have
no
rumbling.
reason.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
like always there. It's like something good.
Everybody please check in once that close door back up.
Lots and lots.
So are you sharing on the screen? Yes. Please stop sharing.
I'm sharing.
I will tell you, Logan, I'll take your sharing from here, okay? Don't share.
Okay. Might have to redo that.
Good evening, folks. Welcome on in. Please make sure you scan a QR code and get checked in before you get started, okay? Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad that y'all have an occasion to.
The time is 7 p.m. I hereby call this this meeting of the Whitewater Student Senate to order. All those able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Brzezowski,
Present.
Senator Carter,
Present.
Senator Irwin,
Present.
Senator Lang,
Present.
Senator Majors,
Present.
Senator Monroe, present, Senator Tricus, Senator Penfield, Senator Purnell,
Present.
Senator Reber,
Present.
Senator Reyes,
Present.
Senator Schmidt,
Present.
Senator Schrockmogel,
Present.
Senator Thompson, present, Senator Vanderheide, present, Senator Wheaton,
Present.
Excellent. With that, we'll move into special orders, starting with the Senate oath of office. But all senators appointed last week who successfully had their signatures validated, please join me at the front for their oath. You have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator of this student government. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senator and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say your name, will to the best of my ability.
I, Gabriel Janetti, will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Gabriel Janetti,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the
obligations
obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and to uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies,
and university policies,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, it is my pleasure to introduce the newest senators of the Whitewater Student Government. Congratulations. With that, we'll move into the appointment of one Drumlin Senate seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in a Drumlin Senate seat? Seeing none, we'll move into the appointment of one off-campus Senate seat. Is there anyone interested in running for an off-campus Senate seat? Seeing none, we'll move into the appointment of two Rock County Senate seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in running for a Rock County Senate seat? Seeing none, we'll move into the appointment of one at-large Senate seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in running for an at-large Senate seat? Seeing none, we'll move slightly out of order from the agenda and go into the approval of agenda and minutes, starting with approval of the minutes from September 15th. Is there a motion to approve? Senator Lang.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Senator Bernowski. I'll ask for unanimous consent.
Acclamation.
Thank you. Moving into approval of the agenda for September 22nd. I'll ask for unanimous consent to change Andy Browning, Associate Dean of Students, who is ill and cannot come speak to us, to be Tanya Schmidt, the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs. Sorry, and Dean of Students.
She's on her way.
She's on her way. Acclamation?
Acclamation.
And then is there a motion to approve the agenda for September 22nd? Senator Lang.
Motion to approve.
Seconded by Senator Carter. It's unanimous. Acclamation?
Acclamation.
Perfect. With that done, we will move into student issues and concerns. Are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery? Seeing none, we'll move into reports, external committee reports of which we have none, internal committee reports which we have two, starting with academic affairs. Would someone from the academic affairs committee please come up to present their committee's reports?
Sure.
Yes.
I will report.
Would you like to come to the podium?
Yes,
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Luke. So the first item of business that we had was we elected vice chair for this committee, which was me, and then secretary was Riley over there. Some new business that we talked about, please correct me if I'm wrong, Abby. We talked about the career service fair that we have next week, and they're looking for volunteers, so if you'd be willing to do that, that'd be great. There is an AI panel in November, and some of the more important discussions that we talked about was we're trying to figure out how to help the career service department come up with a good strategic plan to bring forth towards the students, whether that's through like an app like Navigate or Handshake. We're still working on that. Another point in that matter came up with Stellic. If some of you have heard that, many new students are going to be using that, and everyone will be using that eventually, right?
Yes, and just to clarify, the strategic plan is completed.
It is
So,
completed.
yes, we're
Okay,
all
sweet.
good on that,
Sweet.
yes.
Awesome. Some advising. So we're working on all advisors, student advisors will have the same information. So they don't tell the student, one of them tells the student something and then another advisor tells the student a different thing. We want to make sure that they're getting the same information so there's no miscommunication there. Okay? And then we talked about some general education transferability. We're waiting a new memo still, and you're going to talk about that later, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
But then we had a few student concerns considering ROTC requirements, some buildings closing too early, some different academic information being told to the wrong person, and that was what we concluded. Am I missing any information, Abby?
No, you're all good, thank you.
Are there any questions from the Senate?
Any questions? No? Then thank you very much. You're gonna take your seat and we'll move on to the Communications Committee internal report. Someone from the Communications, yeah, please join us up at the podium.
Hi, I'm Emily. So we met before today for the Senate meeting, and so far we've elected me as secretary. And we've talked about some goals on growing our TikTok page. We're gonna try and grow by about 200 followers, and we're gonna try to get 2 to 3 TikToks out a week. So some of our ideas, we want to do days in the life with each new senator, and if senators are interested in showing their day in the life, we'd love to have that. And also, we expect to have one out each week. We already have one planned for this week and next week, so the following weeks we will do adjustments. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. You may take your seat again. With that, and a quick reminder to the committees, someone please email your committee report to the clerk so she can put it into the minutes. With that done, we'll move into officer reports, starting with President Bradley.
Good evening, everyone. You can see what I did last week. I gave you a heads up about it previous meeting. This week, I'm meeting tomorrow morning with the chancellor, the vice chancellors, and other shared governance leaders on campus. There's also a UW-Whitewater Foundation, Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement Committee meeting. UHCS has their block party this week. A cabinet will meet as always. There's also a Warhawk Votes Committee meeting, and then 2 days shared governance orientation. Looking at the next week, we have SPBC, Strategic Planning and Budget Committee. Additionally, there will be WebEx interviews for the operations director, which will work under student affairs. We will also have the University Staff Council meeting. So those of you who don't know, there are 4 governance organizations on campus. You have the Whitewater Student Government, which is by far the largest, and then you have Faculty Senate, USC, University Staff Council, and ASA, Academic Staff Assembly. So if you're interested in attending University Staff Council as a representative of the Whitewater Student Government, please let me know. And then NALT, the Non-Alcoholic Leadership Team, has budget presentations. So the NALT meetings you heard about in previous weeks, that was when different departments came to us and they gave us an overview about what they do. So they might say, hi, my name is Jan Billigan with Activities and Involvement. We do activities and involvement. This meeting is where Jan is asking for a set amount of dollars. So those are always fun. And then Woot Woot WSG training is on the 3rd, 1 to 5:30, I believe. So certainly leadership can give you some more guidance on that. But those are what I'll be working on this week and next. As always, please reach out with any questions. And I will yield, Mr. Chair, for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the president? Senator Purnell.
Mr. Speaker, or Mr. Parliamentarian, could we get the report on the projection?
Can move any direction. Little celebration emoji.
Any other questions for the president? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of Vice President May.
Hey y'all, last week I was working on office access, updating that. We had cabinet some NALT deliberations and a couple of one-on-ones with our directors. If your hot card does not work, come see me after. If you're not sure, check it out after the meeting. I'll be heading down to the office again, so if anybody wants to join our clan and head on down, give it a test. We can go forward with that. But for this week, we have cabinet as always, some more NALT deliberations. I'll be meeting with directors Reiser and Smith. And I'm also working on doing some student organization and club outreach and collaboration. So as I said before, I was doing some reverse tabling during the involvement fair. As WSG, one of the main things I think we're here for is to serve and connect with other students, and what better way to do that than connecting with them. So I'd like to hear some feedback at the end of the meeting. If anybody's interested in that, come see me after. I'm looking at maybe we can group together to check out some other orgs and see what we can do with a collaborative mind. So with that, I have one other reminder too. Tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. in the World Connection Center, BSU will also be hosting a self-care carnival. So go check that out. It'll be a great time. I'll probably be attending. With that, I'll give it to my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the WSG advisor, Jan Billigan.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Sorry. Parliamentarian. See, I knew I was going to mess it up, so my bad. Sorry. Thank you for serving today, Senator Irwin. A couple quick reminders. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder because there's some other pieces that are happening that are coming up in the calendar. But I told you I would talk about something this week in my report, which I completely cannot find my notes for. So I picked the topic. So when I'm done, you can remind me. I'll be happy to write that down in my book, and I will remember next week. The first thing, and the only thing that I'm going to talk about really in my report today is something that's called open records requests, okay? I tell you about these things because in any governmental part of our nation, whether it's federal, state, local, university, as long as it's part of the state or federal government, there's a law that's called the Open Records Law, which means anyone can come in and make a request to the proper person and give them the proper information to request information about things that happened, things that were decided, things that were voted on, things that were talked about, specific topics. Now, someone couldn't say, I want to see all Jan's email from fall semester. They could ask for it, but they're going to get a request back to say, could you narrow that somehow because Jan gets a lot of emails? No. But that's not what the law says. The law says that they have to give parameters and specificity. They can't go fishing. They have to have something very specific. Let's say you wanted to know everything that I said in my email about the homecoming court selection process. Right? So you would send in the request, and they would go through all of my emails, my UW-Whitewater emails, and they would give them everything that was in my email with things redacted that are protected by FERPA. So if I was talking and inappropriately sharing a student ID number in my email, that would be redacted, okay? So you say, well, great, Jan, but why does this impact Whitewater student government? The reason why I'm sharing it with you is that that could be your email. That could be the parliamentarian's email. That could be the vice president's email that anyone could come and request to make sure that we're being transparent about the work that we do. So that's why when the e-board asks you to send it to their WSG email when it's WSG related, that's one of the reasons why we have those, because it makes it a lot easier for us to say, yep, you can take everything and anything out of this, and then they'll do a search in Vice President Bain's private email, and they'll see that nothing comes up, right, because everything is in the WSG email. So it's important for you to think about that. When you're formulating email and you're communicating, want to make sure that it's professional and respectful, because you never know where any email is ever going to end up, quite frankly. And to think that it hasn't happened would be a falsehood. I spent a great deal of time, I told Senator Irwin about this earlier, spent a great deal of time because someone thought that Whitewater student government was making decisions and being inappropriate on their Facebook and Instagram pages. And I had to download every Facebook post for 3 years, every comment for 3 years, and everything that I could get from Instagram, and send that to the university staff member who does the proper redaction. That constituted more than 12 hours of my life. Okay. Now, the beauty of it is that wasn't a big deal. It took time, but it was okay to do, right? Because there wasn't anything inappropriate in there. So just remember that open records request is different from some of the other things that you might be hearing about in the next couple weeks with training, but open records request means that you or anyone else can come to a governmental organization and request specific information about a topic that you believe is important or that you feel like you don't have all the information for. And I think all the other things that I have will fall under announcements at the end of the meeting. So with that, Mr. Parliamentarian, I will yield to questions.
Magnificent, thank you. Are there any questions for Advisor Billigan? Seeing none, thank you, Advisor Billigan. We'll move into the e-board report, starting with the Director of Academic Affairs, Abby Reiser.
Hi everyone. So last week I had a meeting with Interim Director of Career Services, Jessica Stein. One thing that we talked about, the career fair is next Wednesday, October 1st, and so they need volunteers. So if any of you would be willing to be a volunteer, you can see me after the meeting and I can give you some more information on that. I also, there was a STELC meeting, Olivia, thank you for being able to come to that. We had a meeting with Marissa, who's the Director of Advising. I attended Faculty Senate. There was NALT, and then I also had a SUFAC meeting. This week, we had a couple meetings with some of the deans, and then I have a discussion with Heather Chermek, who is the registrar, to discuss more about the withdrawal process. And then with that, I yield to any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Reiser? Seeing none, we'll move on to the report of the Associate Director of Academic Affairs, Olivia Gross.
Hello everyone. So last week I attended that Stellic messaging meeting. I met with Marissa, and then while I wasn't able to attend UCC, Blake was able to go, and so we'll be meeting up to get that information. And then this week I'm meeting with Jason, the Dean of Cultural Sciences. Not on there, I'm also meeting with Matt Fick, the Dean of Grad Studies. We had our first Academic Affairs Committee internal, so I thought that went really good.
And then I'm continuing and collecting data about online education. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Associate Director of Academic Affairs? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Director of Student Affairs, Lauren Smith.
Yeah, well, as you've seen, my report is super long this week. So if you want to see what meetings I'm having, look at that report in your packet. But for my report, I'm going to ask you to look at the document that hopefully you either grabbed on your way in or I handed out to you. This is a training that we are asking that everyone in our organization completes. It is recognize, respond, refer. I've spoken to a few senators about this idea. Wanted to thank Senator Hansel in particular for help with this project. Recognize, respond, refer is a particular approach to suicide prevention that emphasizes the importance of community and peer-to-peer support. The Universities of Wisconsin, formerly known as UW System, have put together a training that is integrated with the results of their most recent mental health survey. So this is very relevant to our university. The training takes about an hour and consists of 25 modules with some quizzes mixed in. So it would be a great way to spend your office hour this week. You can exit the training at any time and return to where you left off. You can also access resources for yourself at any time throughout this training. And once you complete the training, you become eligible for a merit badge to your account. Once most of our office completes this, we'll receive a sticker that we can put on our office that will signify us as a resource for students on campus who are dealing with these difficult conversations that we can serve as student leaders for. I outlined some things that this taught me and kind of what it goes through. I did this in a car on the way back from Ohio, so I promise you can complete it this week. You can enroll for whatever is relevant to you along the bottom, and then on the back side, when you complete this training, or if you choose to opt out for your own mental safety, we ask that you either scan this QR code or fill out the Connect form or Connect link that's at the bottom, same form, so that we can keep track of who in the organization has completed it. Are there any questions?
From the gallery.
Can I complete it?
Yes, any student can complete this training.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alright, I was just.
Any other questions for Director of Student Affairs? I have one. You specifically thanked Senator Punzel for raising this idea with you. Did you discuss taking this course of action to implement the idea with him before taking it?
This was actually originally my idea, and I spoke with Senator Punzel at length about the idea when he brought me a similar idea, and he helped me develop the process that I'm using.
Excellent, thank you. With that, we'll move on to the report of the Associate Director of Student Affairs, Gavin Miller.
All right, hope everyone's doing well. This week, we continued our 2-on-1 introductory meetings with Veteran Services as well as UHCS. I had a one-on-one with Speaker Wilson, one-on-one with Vice President Boehm, met with Cabinet, and met with Director Smith to discuss our first Student Affairs Committee meeting. That's tomorrow at 8 a.m., so I hope you all can make it who are in that committee. This week, I'll be continuing those 2-on-1s. I'll be starting my one-on-ones with Fabio to discuss dining in the hot card office. Speaking of that meeting, email me with any questions or concerns related to dining before Wednesday. If you want a question answered or you have a concern, let me know and I will bring that up in that meeting. We have our 2-on-2 with the Vice Chancellor and Dean of Students. And then, just so everyone knows, I will be out of town Thursday through Monday at a tennis tournament in Minnesota. I yield to the speaker.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Associate Director? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Director of Communications, Paige Lerman.
Good evening, y'all. So last week I did have sorority recruitment, so I was extremely busy with that, for that being a 4-day process, but it didn't end up going very well. But I was able to design a few Instagram posts and had my one-on-one with Vice President Boehm. This week, I'm really wanting to jump right back in and start filming TikToks again. My goal is to get 2 to 3 out, and today we were able to have our first communications committee meeting today, which I felt like went really well. We brainstormed some really good ideas, and I'm really excited to see how that will increase our follower base on our social media platforms. And I yield to any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the Director of Communications from the gallery?
Do you pay attention to social media trends?
I do, and that's actually a topic of discussion that we had with the senators today.
Alright. what type of trends have you been seeing on social media that are cool?
That are cool.
I don't know, what are relevant to, like, what we are doing is like the same, always, so, like, the long-term trends and the short-term graph flows, that you have a short jump, then it goes away. How do you know, like, what type of trends to do for social media so you can get, like, good revenue?
Get the most views and likes. So as a committee today, we were actually sitting down and brainstorming that some TikTok trends that we see on a daily, and we're gonna try collaborating that into WSG. And we're gonna try posting them on our TikTok as well as on our Instagram Reels and see which one is benefiting more on views that we get.
We're trying to dance one of your videos.
Thank you. Any other questions? Senator Thompson?
Is there a way any new senators can get involved with the page?
Oh, yes, of course. If any new senators are wanting to be involved in any of our posts or TikToks, please feel free to reach out to me via WebEx or email.
President Bradley?
Mr. Parliamentarian, is it true that all internal committee meetings are open so that any senator could attend those at 6 p.m. on Mondays, 264 if they want to get involved?
That is absolutely true. You can attend any internal committee meetings you want, not just the ones you've been appointed to. It's jolly good fun. Any other questions for the Director of Communications?
That's a promise.
Nope. Perfect, thank you. We'll move into the report of the Block Student Government Association President, Andy Holmbeck, who is not here, but they did submit a report, so I strongly encourage all of you to read that over. And then we'll move into the report of our clerk, Sadie Wentz.
Hi. Last week I got the election packet out. I believe that there was copies for you to pick up today. Yes? Okay, cool. If you end up wanting a virtual version of the sheet for your signatures, please email me and I can send it to you. The violation box is outside the Senate office, so feel free to use that if needed. I'm going to have that, just like a little reminder, packet with stuff from the standing rules in the office, and on the last page, it's going to be a copy of a violation form, and I'll just like put examples of how that works on there. And I also have office reminders up saying don't talk about the election in the office, so please remember that. You don't have an excuse to talk about it unless you are asking myself or a member of the committee a clarifying question. I also had recruitment last week, so I wasn't around that much. This week I will be in the office right after the meeting, so if you want help or any questions on the Senate election, please come see me. Otherwise, tomorrow is the optional informational session, which is going to be basically the same stuff that I'll have tonight at 5 p.m. in the office. The election packets are out. Let me know if you need a copy. Have cabinet this week. The elections committee will be right after cabinet on Wednesday. So you're welcome to attend, but you're welcome to attend. And then if the agendas have been sent out for all the internal committees, so we're gonna start doing that once a week, so then we're also complying with the open meeting laws. So I believe you all should have gotten an email from me on Sunday, and it was just a list of all 4 committees meeting this week and their agendas. That's what that was for. Otherwise, I yield to questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the clerk? Seeing none, we will move out of order into the report on the Student Organization Code of Conduct Policy by Tonya Schmidt.
All right, where do I sit?
Just up here at the podium.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Running.
Yay, hello.
Doing handouts. Are you a handout person, Anna?
I can do handouts, so I have it up virtually for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I made copies because
I encourage the copies. I'm
Yeah.
happy to pass.
Okay, I'll pass this way.
Oh, thanks, Parker. I will ask Parker.
Okay.
Thank you, President Bradley. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya Schmidt. I use she and hers pronouns. I'm not Andy Browning. Andy was supposed to be here, but he was sick today, so I'm going to fill in for him and do my best. I'm the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and the Dean of Students here at Whitewater. This is my first meeting I'm presenting at, so this is really exciting. I am here to talk about a couple things that led us to revising the Student Organization Code of Conduct policy. And that began in December of last year when the Stop Campus Hazing Act was passed by the federal government, signed into law, and is there to help us be more aware of what hazing is, and also to make sure that we educate our students about the new definitions from the federal government and also revise our policy. And so it's a little bit of a domino effect. It is also requiring us to report these incidents as Clary campus security authorities. We also need to have a public-facing website, and we have to publish a campus hazing transparency report, which I'll get into in a minute. But essentially, we had an anti-hazing policy here on campus, but because of some of these new requirements by the federal government, we had to revise that policy. So once we revised the anti-hazing policy, that translated into that domino of having to revise our student organization code of conduct. And the main reason for that is that hazing is actually something that any of us can do. Faculty, staff, students. We typically think of it as maybe a student organization issue or maybe a fraternity and sorority life issue. That is being broadened because, in fact, that is true. And so one of the things that this federal law did was expand the definition of student organization. And so we probably think, oh, hazing, it only happens in student organizations that are recognized by the university. That's not actually true. It can happen anywhere on campus or off campus involving students, faculty, and staff. So what we ended up doing is going into our student organization code of conduct and updating, first of all, some of those definitions. So under number 4, we had to adopt the student organization definition for both recognized and unrecognized student organizations. So this could be athletic teams, bands, student government is noted there. It just really expands it and helps us think more broadly about where hazing could occur. We also adopted a more broad definition of hazing from the federal government. And so this is on page, these are not numbered. One of the things you're going to notice about the new policy is that it is in a certain format. The reason it's in this format, starting with the policy purpose, then the responsible officer at the university and scope, is because we are trying to streamline our policies into what we're calling a policy library. Because if you have ever tried to look for a policy on our websites, you have probably seen contradictory policies all over the websites. So this is that new format. Unfortunately, I couldn't change it because it was in a PDF format, so it's not numbered, and I apologize for that. But I also want to take the time to say it's really important for me to say that I did not work on all of these revisions. This was really Andy Browning, our Associate Dean of Students, and Thomas Litowski, who is our current interim Title IX coordinator. So I want to give them big props. Okay. So going back to this is 1, 2, 3, the third page. This has the hazing definition that is a little bit more broad, and we have focused a lot on physical hazing before, but this broadens it to psychological, and also has some really great examples there. Not great examples, but examples to help people understand what hazing is and what it's not. We added some things about retaliation, because that is one of the barriers to reporting hazing. We also mentioned our amnesty through responsible action, which is our policy that if there is a situation where a fellow Warhawk is in need of medical attention because of maybe alcohol or drug use, we encourage not only individuals to call 911 or get their RA or somebody who can actually help them, but also student organizations. If somebody shows up to the house where you're having an event and they are in need of medical attention, if you do the right thing and you call and get them help and cooperate with authorities, you're not going to have a ticket from the police or a misconduct violation through the university. We also added academic misconduct to the policies. And one of the things that you will notice is that this is a lot longer than the old one. How many people looked at the old one? How many pages was it?
I don't remember.
Oh, Logan, come on. Did anyone remember? It was like 4 pages and this is, I don't know, 8 pages. One of the things that we did is we took those areas of violations and we gave some more concrete examples of what that entailed instead of just having it be very vague, because we thought that that was important for folks to know what could be a violation. One of the things that you'll notice is investigative procedures and appeal rights will be separate from the actual policy on itself. I included it in here so people knew what those would be, but the policy is really going to just focus on the policy, and then the procedures and the appeals will be separate documents that are attached to it. The other thing that we changed is under interim measures in the appeal process document section. Is that the Dean of Students or their designee can take immediate action by restricting some or all of the student organization's activity. The last policy was just the nuclear option of limiting all types of activity that group did. But if you get a hazing report and that might only pertain to the new members of the group, you could just limit those activities instead of saying that the organization has to shut down all of their activities. I think that's all I wanted to cover. The one thing I did tell you about is the campus hazing transparency report. If the Dean of Students office does an investigation and finds a student organization responsible for hazing, we have an obligation twice a year to update our hazing website, our anti-hazing website, with the name of that student organization or organization as defined by the new definition, the description of that violation, the date it was investigated, the investigation started and ended, and then the date the notice was given to the organization. So those will be publicly available twice a year, starting December 23rd of this year. Bless you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Dean Schmidt, Senator Lang?
The anti-hazing website that you mentioned, is that available through the UW page or is it its own separate?
It sure is. It's if you do uww.edu and hazing, like if you just search that, it'll pop up. There's also prevention on there. We are required to link the Clary annual security report on there, make sure our policies there, definitions, and then we have a bunch of hazing prevention information on there as well, which this week is Hazing Prevention Week. So help us prevent hazing and learn more about what it is and how to prevent it and how to report it.
Any other questions, Senator Carter?
How would someone, like a student, find the form to fill out if something should happen or that? Where would they go?
Yep.
Or does it connect to it?
Yeah, and so you're asking about reporting, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is part of the policy here on how to. So you can complete an online reporting form for hazing that is on the Dean of Students website. We actually have a hub where you can go to one spot and all of our reporting forms are there. Hazing is one of them. There's a bias report, there's our care team report if you want to get another student some help. But that is one way. You can also report it to our campus police at the non-emergency number, or if it's happening and it's an emergency, 911. And then also there is a UW system integrity hotline that you can call or fill out an anonymous report through Ethics Point on the system website. So that is under investigative procedures. Thanks for that great question, Logan.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Great question, but also because of this group, last year, there's also a link to that reporting right off of your app. It's right on the landing page for Connect, whether it's on your app or if it's on your computer.
Thanks, Jan. Awesome. So lots of ways to report. And you can report anonymously. I will just warn you that anonymous reports are really hard because we need quite a bit of detail. And if you just say, you know, the underwater basket weaving club is hazing at 315 Starin Road, that doesn't really help us. So we, when we're doing investigations, do not say this came from X person. And we try to keep you as anonymous as possible in that. And so we'd encourage you, if you have any questions about reporting, to come and ask us about that. You can speak in generalities, and then we can help coach you through how to get the form and what types of information might be good for you to put into that form.
Questions from the gallery?
It's just a clarification question.
Yep.
So I don't have a packet, but I don't know if it's in the packet. But once a report is made, does that automatically start the investigation, or do you carry the investigation based on what the report was on?
Yeah, that's a great question. If we have an anonymous report that doesn't have a lot of information, we may not be able to do anything with it. But if it is some detailed information that we can start an investigation, we will start that investigation.
And so it's just up to your department based on?
Yeah, basically just based on the investigative experience of the folks in the Dean of Students office, we would say, yes, this is enough to at least go forward with. There are some other things that we can do, especially if we have an address. We can look at were there like police calls to that address? Are there any other reports from that student organization or organization in the past? So we're looking at all of those things to decide what we want to do going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Senator Carter?
Just a point of clarification for folks that don't know. Well, if a report happens, will it be like what happened earlier this year where they would email us saying that a report happened and that there's an investigation going on, or how would that work?
Yeah, so you're talking about the timely warnings. We had 2 in 1 day. That is Clery, which is another federal law that we abide by here that tells us that if something happens on our campus or in Clery reportable areas, that we have an obligation to notify the community about that. So because those things happened on our college campus and they were alleged crimes, that's why they would have to do that. Now with hazing, that could happen, and recognized student organization houses are considered Clery geography, so you might start to see those if we get that report. And remember, that's based on what's reported, not what has been investigated.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes.
What are the efforts of some fraternities and sororities that they're trying to do to prevent hazing and to have more productive parties that can help people out instead of bringing people down or bullying?
Yeah, that's a great question. Can I hand it off to my friend Jan? Can I phone a friend?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tanya. So part of what Student Activities and Involvement does is work with Greeks. So Greeks actually, historically on our campus, has been the leaders in anti-hazing education. All of their new members complete a course and take a pledge to help protect our campus from hazing, not only the organizations that they might be a part of, but anything they see on campus. So they kind of are doing the stuff that we're talking about already. They also provide educational programs for campus-wide and their active members as well. So I think probably more than that, but that's all I got. So anybody in the Greek room, anything I forgot? Great.
No. Perfect. Any other questions for Dean Schmidt? Seeing none, thank you very much for your time. And
Thanks for
please,
having me.
Thank you. And please tell Mr. Browning that the Senate wishes him a speedy recovery.
I will. Thank you so much.
Perfect. With that done, we'll move back into order. with the report of the illustrious Senate parliamentarian, Blake Irwin. I do apologize for not submitting a report last week. I had a personal matter to deal with on Friday, which derailed my schedule. The past week, I met with Speaker Wilson to discuss his being acting speaker in his absence, and attended the first of the internal committees. This coming week, I'll be meeting with each of the new senators who have taken their seats to help plan their first outreach events, and continuing to attend my various committee meetings and dealing with whatever responsibilities I need to crop up as acting speaker for the week Speaker Wilson is in Thailand. With that out of the way, I'd like to do a couple of reminders. The first is that as per our standing rules, any beverage other than water at a Senate meeting has to require permission from the chair before you can have it. I will give blanket permission for any beverage other than water, but it is important to keep in mind for the future. The second reminder I'd like to deal with is this term that's been being tossed around the past few weeks and has already been used in this meeting, and that's the term Senate leadership. If possible, I'd like people to remove this term from their vernacular. Senate leadership is not a concept found in the standing rules. It refers to the parliamentarian deputy speaker and speaker. However, the three of us do not serve in a leadership capacity. It's not a relationship at all similar to, say, the president, vice president, and their e-board. The Senate officers are functionaries who work for the Senate to fulfill certain roles, and using the term Senate leadership has tended to convey a level of importance to Senate officers which they do not possess. In the past, distressingly, I've heard senators refer to Senate officers as their superiors, so there's clearly some misconceptions cropping up around the term. So it would be best to refer to us as the Senate officers going forward. And besides that, while Isaiah is gone, as you all know, I'm acting speaker. So if there's anything that you would normally need the speaker for, please send it to me. That said, unless it is time sensitive, I will most likely defer a decision until Speaker Wilson is back in the country. So really, all I expect will be anything you want to be on the agenda for next week, please send to the parliamentarian email. And with that, I will yield to questions. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move into the report of the Deputy Speaker, Nick Patricus, who is not here, but he has delivered a report, so I encourage you all to give that a read over. And the Deputy Speaker also requested that I remind everyone that there is a mandatory event coming up on October 3rd? Yes, 3rd, thank you. On October 3rd, mandatory event, so just like committee meetings and the Senate meeting, your attendance is required unless you have an excused absence. For excused absences, please contact Speaker Wilson and the Deputy Speaker. And with that, we'll move into the report of the Speaker, Isaiah Wilson, who did not submit a report. And then we'll move into unfinished business, of which we have none. And then we'll move into new business, which is the declaration of WSG priorities. President Bradley.
Good evening, everyone. Vice President Bain is coming around.
Well, you're telling us.
Vice President Bain is coming around with our WSG priorities for the year. So to give you a little background, historically, this was something that the WSG President would declare, send to the Chancellor and the Chancellor's Cabinet, and that's what we did last year. I took feedback from this group I decided that we were going to launch a survey to hear from students about what they wanted to see as our priorities for the year. And we used that, and along with some collaboration with the cabinet and the speaker, to draft these here priorities. So Vice President Bain will hand those around. As I hinted to last week, we're declaring a theme, which is driving persistence through affordability and engagement. I developed the through affordability and engagement section, and Jerry Smith helped me with driving persistence. So the first thing I'd like to clarify is we know what the term persistence means on a college campus. Have we heard the term retention? Those two frequently get mixed up. Okay, so retention is a student coming back year to year. So if I come as a first year student, I stay for 2 semesters, and I come back what we used to call the sophomore, I have been retained, right? I go towards the university's retention rates. Persistence is semester to semester. So I start in the fall, do I persist to the spring? Okay, so we're focusing on that semester to semester persistence. I'm going to walk you through this document. I know you just got it. I will say this morning, this was officially sent to the Chancellor and members of his cabinet. So it has officially been declared by the Whitewater student government. We sent out a survey last week. You can see in the introductory page, but halfway down. Sent out a survey, and within 48 hours, got 350 responses. That's what we use to kind of build this. So under affordability, the first item we have is degree affordability, and a line I'd like to draw your attention to is cost should not become a barrier that prevents qualified and motivated individuals from enrolling, persisting, and graduating. We frequently saw in our survey that most students, and I actually have it here to share with you, affordability, whether it was parking affordability, degree affordability, things like that, was by far the number one response. Also on there is textbook affordability, by far up there, and parking access and affordability was really important to students. So we have degree affordability, it's about a page there. I would encourage you to read through it, another good line. Not all students face the same circumstances, right? We all recognize that and understand that. I hope. And then we wrap up that section with commitment to ensuring that UW-Whitewater remains affordable, competitive, and true to its mission of expanding opportunities. We then move into the reduction of fees, which is something the current campus administration is working on. The Chancellor has charged auxiliaries, so those are departments on campus who make most of their money. So any examples can anybody think of? Dining, parking, university center, housing, things like that. So looking at those fees, maybe combining them so it's a little more transparent and clear what students are paying for.
UC is not.
UC is not auxiliary. I misspoke, apologies. And what we're trying to get at here is it's giving a message to students that every dollar matters. Right? We're not just charging them random fees. We're going to communicate why we're charging these fees, because they are, in most cases, very important, very necessary. We then move into financial aid, which was another one that was really high up there. It's a little different than affordability. It was about clarity, about helping students understand financial aid, what that process looks like, and financial literacy. And so WSG's goal is to ensure that financial aid is not only accessible, but also responsive to the realities students face. And in that same section, I note that there's a lot of great work being done in our one-stop, especially with Jamie Bussey and financial literacy. And so expanding on that, recognizing some great work's being done already, let's grow it a little bit. Speaking of one-stop, we move into under engagement, the one-stop phase 2. So there are going to be some changes coming to the one-stop. If you'll remember from last week, it was implemented last fall. Hopefully that sounds familiar to you. And we're in the phase 2 now. So what does it look like to expand that space to make sure that we have all the resources students need in that area, and kind of maybe reimagining some spaces. I do call in here that the Warhawk Connection Center should be unimpeded. It's a very important space on our campus for a lot of important groups of students, and so we'd like to see them unchanged. Well, then moving to Greek community, something I'd like to call out is the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater is very fortunate. We don't just have fraternities and sororities, we also have society on campus, which is unique, and we as an organization would like to call attention to that. So I'm going to start off very first line, it's critical importance of our campus' Greek organizations, fraternities, sororities, and societies alike. And I go on to describe how our Greek organizations support the values of the university. So you have collaboration, inclusivity and opportunity, integrity, flip here, academic excellence, service and social responsibility, and shared governance. And in this section, what we're going to do is we're going to be creating an internal ad hoc committee to focus on our Greek community here on campus, ensuring that all groups are represented, and kind of seeing that we elevate that space and really call attention to some great work that's already being done. Finally, we have our internal priorities. So this kind of strays away from our theme. Our themes for those first two. Internal priorities are what we as an organization, as a Senate, want to accomplish. And so the first one is we want more people to know about us, right? We can't do a very good job if students don't know what our student government is and what they do, right? So how do we get more students to know what we do? And then also, how do we increase our involvement? How do we fill the Senate? Right? It has not been done since I've been here, and let's get it done this year. So declaring a priority of increasing organizational involvement. And then I wrap up with a nice conclusion that I would urge you to read. This is formatted in a letter to the Chancellor. Like I said, it was sent to the Chancellor, members of the Cabinet, so it was addressed to him, so that's why it looks like it's a letter. That was the quickest overview I can give you. I'm open to questions, Mr. Parliamentarian. I yield.
Are there any questions for President Bradley? Senator Purnell.
Was this declaration discussed with any senators outside of the Speaker?
Outside of the Speaker, no. I will say the senators got the survey early to complete, and in that email I urged them to share it with their constituents. But no, not in the way I assume you're referring to. I didn't have one-on-one conversations with senators. It was something that I did address last week, and I haven't had any conversations with it in the week since.
Any other, for a note of clarification, questions are ranked in order of which I'll call you on.
Sorry.
What, you don't have to say, I'm just explaining why. If there's a pause, senators' questions are asked first, then e-board, then gallery questions, but all questions will be answered. So any other questions from senators? Senator Lang.
I just, point of clarification, did you say there's a new internal committee being created for the Greek life?
Yeah, we're going to pull together some students that are heavily involved in Greek life as WSG representatives. So the Speaker can appoint those students as members, or not members, but representatives of the student body. So we're going to pull together some of those folks to kind of help educate us on what Greek students are looking for. Also, that'll be open to all senators as well. It won't really have membership. It's more of an open conversation thing that we need a little more guidance on what our Greek students are looking for.
Senator Gulick? Gulick, sorry.
So, when the legislature that we passed this year, does it have to be, I'm trying to think of a way to phrase my question. The legislature that we create this year, does it have to, in some way be related to the priorities that we set? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I completely understand. No. There's things that are on here that show up in our surveys that our directors are going to focus on, like dining. Dining's always going to be one of our number one things that comes back in the survey, but I have two directors who work tens of hours a week ensuring that you have a good dining experience, right? So there's certain things that we'll keep doing. We're not going to stray away from that. The work's going to still be getting done. We didn't declare it as a priority because that work is getting done. What I declared as priorities are things that we need to boost. And legislation definitely does not have to be tied to this list in any way. You can write legislation on anything you would like.
Senator Cornell?
Was this declaration given to any senators outside of the speaker prior to you handing it out just now?
No.
Any other questions? Senator Thompson?
So we're trying to make a Greek life committee, correct? Is that what it says?
It's an ad hoc internal committee, so it'll be a WSG committee, ad hoc meeting. It's temporary, it's just for one purpose. It has one purpose, and that's to inform us on helping follow through on our priorities.
Okay, sorry. Second question, is that gonna be all Greek life or just like your traditional Greek life versus like your business sororities or such, or fraternities?
Social Greek letter.
Yep, so I'm yet to speak with the speaker about what his intentions are for the makeup of the committee. I know that when we are talking about the Greek community on our campus, we're talking about the Greek community housing, student activities and involvement, and that's going to be your social Greek lettered organizations. I'm not opposed to bringing in different organizations. I know we have some folks who are in other business or professional Greek lettered organizations we can loop in. But right now, I'd like to start. How would that start with your social Greek lettered organizations?
Other questions from the gallery?
Hi. Okay, so my first question is, what about the committee is like, you said to serve a purpose specifically, and that is to educate. What makes the committee different from just a regular meeting versus having like a full committee of Greek life members?
It's bringing together Greek life members with the sole purpose of helping WSG understand more about our Greek community on campus. Does that answer your question, or am I misunderstanding?
The question is more so, what is the difference between just having like one meeting about like, you know, education, what do you need type situation, versus having a full committee? Like, how does that purpose get driven out just instead of having one meeting, if that makes sense? Does that make sense?
And yeah, I get what you're doing, Dan. The first thing I say is I recognize that the Greek community is always changing and evolving, and has different needs, and so I'd like it to be something that we could stick with for the academic year. So rather than having one meeting that some folks can attend and they can't get a full group there, I'd like to make it recurring so we can hopefully get folks in this room to come to a meeting, hopefully folks who are presidents of councils to make it to meetings, things like that. I think it's more accessible. But also I do recognize that things do change, and things can change quickly. So I'd like it to be more of a recurring style.
My second, do I have to rephrase my
From the gallery?
Okay, perfect. My second question is, what is the selection process, or how would that process be when selecting people to be on this committee?
Yeah, like I said, I'm yet to meet with the speaker. I know that we had a very brief conversation about inviting the presidents of the councils. We also recognize that student activities and involvement has 2 Greek interns. We have not established a process yet. I know that it's going to be, what I do know is it's going to be a very open committee, so those who want to join can join. I don't know what the speaker wants to do as of, do you have to request to be in the committee, is there be appointed, that kind of thing. So logistically, we have to figure it out. It'll be a very open committee. I don't imagine anybody will be turned away.
Thank you.
Senator Lieber?
Just a point of clarification, the presidents of the councils of the Greek life, have they, like, sat down with the speaker and discussed this?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
We know a lot of them through other work that we've done, right? So I've run, I don't know, Coop, I don't mean to call you out. Coop is the president of one of the councils. So we've talked a little bit about what would this look like, if it's something the presidents would be interested in. We have decided to move forward with it, so we have not had one-on-ones about what that looks like.
They like it too, they like the idea too of having this committee set up?
Yeah, so we've talked to a couple Greek students, presidents, and members alike. The general consensus is it's a good idea. They're appreciative to see some focus on their community.
Senator Carter?
So the first thing you talk about is degree of affordability, and I know that last year we've had many complaints about students like having to pay to go to graduation. And is that like a focus in the degree affordability in that? Because I do know that students are like, why am I paying to go graduation when I'm already paying thousands of dollars?
Can I ask you to be a little more specific on what you're paying? I mean, you're paying for a degree to graduate, which is
Right,
something you
but
covers
there's
more of the fees with capping out and things like that.
Yes.
Yep, that would fall under fees, right? So this is gonna go out to the folks and directors on campus that my directors deal with. So when they have conversations, these are gonna be some topics that are gonna be discussed.
Awesome, thank you.
Right, so I haven't identified a list of things. Like, we're not gonna look at A, B, C, D, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna wait for our directors to get in meetings with campus directors, and we can move from there.
That's good.
Senator Purnell?
Is it accurate to say that the section titled Internal Priorities sets the priorities for the Senate despite only speaking with one senator when drafting these proposals?
It sets the priorities for our organization. We are Whitewater Student Government, we are a student organization.
Any other questions for President Bradley? From the gallery?
How do I maintain and live this document, or making sure we uphold the values of this agenda every day in Whitewater, and making sure that I do a good job when for helping out students and things like that?
Sure, I'd say this is not meant to dictate what you do as a senator. Like I said, Senator Geelig, this doesn't dictate when you can pass or things have to be related to it. This is going to, first and foremost, this is a message to the chancellor, right? So if you take Senate or executive out of it, what this is, if you really boil it down, is we're telling Chancellor Corey King what the student body is concerned about, what the student body is focusing on, right? We took that right from our survey. Then it's to give you an idea what some of our directors are going to be working on. Like I said, we're getting in these meetings, focusing on these different things. And so you don't have to change the way you go about your everyday, right? But I say it would be important to note that these are some things that we as an organization will be focusing on. You can also help inform students about this, like I said. We talked to some Greek students who were thrilled to kind of hear that we were going to put some focus on them this year. So it's not meant to be like you have to live and breathe the WSG priorities. It's meant to be a reference for you that this is what we as an organization are working on this year.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will move into a 10-minute discussion on the priorities. Would anyone like to comment on the priorities? Senator Rita.
I think that this is a great list of priorities. It just helps get us in the mindset of how we can vote on things this year, how we can discuss things and what matters to attack. And I think this is a great starting point of inspiration for those matters.
Senator Carter.
I really like the Greek community thing. As someone who has been in Greek life and who was in Greek life, I think it's really great that we're starting to see these priorities come up, because I feel like it's going to create a good bond with student government and Greek life that I feel like we haven't had. So I really do like the Greek community stuff in this.
Senator Reber.
I would just like to say that I really like all of the focus on affordability for students, because obviously we're going through a time right now where things are becoming more expensive and federal programs are kind of going away, so it's harder to get money anywhere, and I really do appreciate when anybody on the university focuses on affordability for students, and especially since it's such a hard thing to talk about. I mean, nobody really wants to go up to someone and say, I'm having a really hard time with money, but it just makes it easier and nicer. It's handled from the top, so thank you.
Senator Purnell.
I agree with the priorities listed. I wish that there was more communication with the Senate while establishing these priorities because these are priorities that are given as a list from WSG. I feel that it would be more accurate to reflect that these are priorities of the executive, since the Senate had very little say in the drafting of these priorities. Additionally, I feel that some issues, large issues were left out, mainly dining and housing. I understand that they are ever-changing, but they are also two issues that we consistently get complaints about, and writing that they are issues that we are focused on are would be important to display to our constituents that we are indeed focusing on these issues.
Senator Gulick. Gulick, so sorry.
No, it's alright. You know, I do entirely agree with Senator Purnell. But I also think that this is just simply saying what it's summarizing more or less what our objectives are for the year. I did originally kind of agree with you more so at the beginning, but after President Bradley described it further, I do agree that since we're not strictly held to what this says, I don't think it is as big of an issue.
Thank you. A reminder to all members to not address other members of the committee. Senator Reber.
So point of information, you had sent drafted directed at you, and if I want to ask Doug a question.
If it's a point of inquiry, you can address
Okay.
it.
So, yeah, point of information, you had said earlier at the start when you brought up this proclamation that the reason that you did it in this way is because you had done it this way last year and it had been done that way before, correct?
That is correct. This is the first year we did a survey though. As it was recommended to me by the parliamentarian. So I took his advice and that's why we had the survey, and I think it went wonderfully.
Senator Bernowski.
I will say I agree, and I do like the priorities. I really like the idea of the survey and the first year of the survey because the point of these priorities are from students, so that survey really helps get our priorities straight. I feel like maybe addressing the Senate as well a little bit to get maybe more input, you know, because maybe not everyone filled out the survey, but us as senators, we're supposed to represent students. We kind of hear about issues verbally, so we can always bring that to, you know, light, you know, as we discuss this, you know, maybe some issues that we hear all the time, but maybe didn't reflect that within the survey.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this issue? Vice President Bang.
I think something cool to note is President Bradley.
You can reference me. Just
okay. I think something important to note is President Bradley ensured that this survey was passed along to housing, which consists of, I want to say, 150 plus RAs who also help represent their constituents. And they're oftentimes a huge point of contact for a good chunk of our population here in Whitewater. So by getting that survey out to all of the RAs, we're also extending to a lot more individuals on campus as well, and gather much more feedback and information.
President Bradley.
I'd like to add that this survey was sent out in a campus-wide email that includes undergraduate and graduate students. I don't know if anybody's ever sent a really important email and they get a little nervous before sending it. This one had over 15,000 people that we sent it to, so it's a whole different level of nerves you get. But so 350 plus might not sound like a lot out of 15,000. I can tell you that it is. It's more than other surveys that have been done with the university in the past. That survey is still open, right? So you can direct your constituents to that survey. It's under the Whitewater Student Government Connect 2. But to address some points that have been brought up, just because something's not on the priorities doesn't mean you should address it or work with the director on finding a solution. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to be covered, like dining and housing. Like I said, I have 2 directors who work hours and hours and hours every week, who continue to impress Parker and I each week with just how hard they're working on finding solutions and resolving issues that are brought before them and ensuring things run smoothly. So these are definitely, while they might not be labeled a priority, they're definitely very strongly focused on. And so I would encourage you to remember that as we move into the year. If there's anything that you notice or your constituents bring to you that you would like addressed, we have an e-board that's here to serve you and support you so that you can serve and support your constituents.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Senator Purnell?
The problem that I have with,
Hey, I'm sorry, can you speak up a bit, because I'm having a hard time hearing you, and I don't know what.
yes,
Thank you.
sorry.
I appreciate
For
it.
reference, if anyone is having trouble hearing any of the speakers, please make a point of personal privilege so we can address that.
The problem that I have with the issues that were not addressed in the statement is that not that we are not addressing the issues, but that this is an official document, an official statement given by our organization on what we are focusing on. And this would be the opportunity to discuss that we are indeed focusing on some of these issues.
Any other comments? Then I'll take the last comment. First of all, I would like to commend the president on utilizing a survey and for the effort he put into it to achieve a wide range of responses to that survey. And for putting together, which upon the brief time I've had to inspect it, appears to be a very well-written and thoughtful document, which includes several goals which could produce very productive fruit over the course of the next semester. That said, I would also like to note my concerns with the process. Precedent, as you mentioned, is not king. If a precedent is bad, then it should be discarded. And I do believe that the precedent of the president unilaterally declaring priorities for this organization is one which should be done away with. When the organization speaks as Whitewater Student Government, I do believe it should be the entire org speaking, Senate and E-Board united. I hope that the next time we discuss our priorities, the Senate is given, first of all, greater time to review the priorities, given time before they are sent out to the chancellor to review them and give comments, and most of all, given the opportunity to amend and approve them if a majority of the Senate should see fit to do so. With that, the 10 minutes allocated for the discussion has come to an end. Is there a motion to extend discussion for 5 minutes? Seeing none, we will continue with the agenda into announcements. Are there any announcements? Director Reiser.
Just as a reminder, if you want volunteers for the career fair, come see me after. Thank you.
Director Keller.
Just so everybody knows, I know our president mentioned it earlier, but we have the UHCS block party on Wednesday from 11 to 2 at Ambrose. Stop by because there will be some free food, some hot dogs, and there's going to be a chance to get to know all the services that Ambrose provides. So try to make it there if you can.
Clerk West.
I I started a new club this semester called the Coloring Club. Our first meeting is going to be Wednesday, 6 to 7, Highland, on LA8, I believe. I'd love to see you all there.
Advisor Billigan.
Thank you. A quick reminder, there will be one-stop listening sessions for phase 2. So you just saw that that's something we want to know more about. And Vice Chancellor said Philauer and Interim Provost, pardon me, I cramped for a moment, Robin Fox would love to hear your feedback. So Tuesday, that's tomorrow from 2 to 3. Who doesn't have class at 2:15, raise your hand. That means you would be available from 2 to 3 in the University Center, room 68. Also, if you can't make that time, Wednesday, so that's 2 days from now, it's not opposite the Coloring Club, it's at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Anybody not have class on Wednesday at 10 a.m., raise your hand. Okay, great. That will be in the UC in 259. So Tuesday at 2, and Wednesday at 10. Please come. They're gathering information. It's going to be facilitated, I believe, by our director of the library and our dean of students, Tanya Schmidt, who you met this evening again, and will be fabulous. And just getting your opinion on some general questions they have for you. You don't have to prep, you just have to show. My other reminder is that there is the first homecoming informational meeting on Monday, a week from today, at 8:30 in the Summers Auditorium. So if this organization or any group that you're with or Residence Hall would like to get involved with some of the undergraduate experiences with homecoming, please attend that meeting, and thank you.
Vice President Bang.
A reminder to everybody to read your pockets here. And once again, if you are interested in looking to collaborate with some different student organizations, please come see me after. You sign up on this little notepad.
Student Affairs Director Smith.
Just to add to the homecoming thing, if you want to do it for student government and you're on my committee, well done, because that's where homecoming will be at this year. A couple things. The Healthy Mind Survey is live as of today in your email as an email from Kristen Philpower. That's open until October 20th. It takes 25 to 30 minutes to complete, so please complete that survey. There's a WCC event this Wednesday, College Unlocked, real advice from real students. Encourage your constituents to go. And then Kristen Philpower and Robin Fox will be hosting check-in chats as a chance to engage with them as campus leaders once a month this semester. Look for more information on Connect 2, and the next event is October 21st. The first one was today.
From the gallery?
Am I able to do that? Question mark?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm gonna stand up. My name is Cooper. I currently serve as the president of the National Panhellenic Council. I am also the PR for Zeta Pi Beta Sorority Incorporated, the exquisite Kappa Xi chapter here. I'm also the co-coach for the Warless dance team, the majorette dance team on campus. I'm a WCC intern, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something else. But anyways, I just wanted to say hi, and then also just name a few events that are going to be happening. There is a Powder Puff game this Friday in which President Bradley and Senate Carter will be refereeing. So I highly advise that you all come out for that. I can get the times and dates to President Bradley so he can send you all that information. Also next week for Zeta Pi Beta Sorority Incorporated, we are having a Splash of Zeta event. If you don't know, one of the members in our Greek community, Keegan Francie, his house burnt down and he lost all his belongings as well as his family's. So all the proceeds, half of the proceeds, I should say, will be going to his GoFundMe, his family's GoFundMe. So yeah, it's going to be next Tuesday, North Mall, UC, from 11 to 2. If you are able to come or just even donate $2, at least $1 will be going to his family. And that is all I have. So yeah, thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, and then could all senators who took their seats last week or this week please see me after the meeting. And I completely forgot that to mention in my report today is Constitution Day. Happy Constitution Day. WSG used to be required to celebrate it. Everyone who gave a report will give their amendment. That responsibility has been handed over to faculty to handle. But I'll keep the tradition alive by sharing my favorite part of the Constitution, which is Article 1, which lays out Congress and their legislative powers. It comes first because, as in all democracies, the legislature is the most powerful and important part of the U.S. government. With that, we'll move. Oh. Do we have another announcement? No. With that, we'll move into adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Senator Schnoffnagel. Do we have a second? Senator Thompson. Acclamation?
Acclamation.
Time is 8:25. Senator is adjourned.
Folks, if you want to go down to the office, Vice President Bam and I will be going down. So you can gather and we'll walk you down. Like Wednesday, 17th. Last Wednesday was Constitution.
Are you aware that Constitution
I was not aware.
Pretty much, I come back to the same thing for my reputation.
Yes.